Looking for insurance coverage you can count on? Call the Insurance Barn, a professional agency since 1959. The Insurance Barn writes all-in-one policies and offers coverage for homeowners, fire, flood, commercial property, auto, boats, motorcycles, plus wind and hail protection.
All the snap is back to hold us down.
And it's good. Gulfport wins. Gulfport wins the title.
No time on the clock. The Golden Egg is coming to the coast.
Welcome to the HD Experience, your source for sports on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Here's your host, Hunter Dawkins.
Good afternoon. My name is Hunter Dawkins, and I am the host of the award-winning podcast, The HD Experience. This is the 46th episode. It's a Mississippi Gulf Coast sports podcast, sponsored by the Gazebo Gazette, Harrison County's independent newspaper, the Beau Rivage Resort and Casino in Biloxi, Nine Toes Brewing Company. We're here live at the Nine Toes Brewing Company in Pass Christian, who has live music every weekend. O'Dwyer Realty Agent Stephanie Mankiewicz, Joseph Kelly's attorney at law, Coast Casual in Pass Christian, Insurance Barn in Gulfport. You have a new one, Hook 'em for Heroes Block Party. It's on Sunday, September the 12th, right here at Nine Toes Brewing Company. And we're always in the U.S. Marine studio. I'm here with my wonderful producer of the show, Jeff Clark. Jeff is a well-accomplished, award-winning journalist, a South Alabama beat writer, and is the director of the Harrison County Senior Services. Additionally, Jeff Clark is my good friend. Jeff, how are you?
Hunter, I'm well, man. Always happy to be here at Nine Toes. Nine Toes Brewing Company right here in the bungalows and Pass Christian. You know, we love hanging out here. We've been watching the World Cup here over the past few weeks, having a good time. Been people in and out all day. There was live music. It's just always a great time to be here. Always exciting to do the HD Experience from Nine Toes.
Our theme is local football discussion.
No song today, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We're at Nine Toes Brewing Company in Pass Christian, and it's one of your favorite places, Jeff. Not only do you talk about watching football and just being involved in here, doing trivia and all the rest of the noise. Dude, football season is right around the corner, and we're going to be recording from the Marriott Convention Center in New Orleans on Radio Row next week during the Sun Belt Conference Football Media Days. But today we are discussing the local football. Additionally, we're getting a local perspective, not only about high school football, but about college and about professional. And so what are some of your interests in finding this out at the local level?
You know, Hunter, I'm looking forward to the Gazebo Gazette Oyster Bowl. Long Beach and Pass Christian, first game of the season, it's just coming up. We're getting there, you know, we're getting geared up for that. We'll be doing some special podcasting that week. It's going to be exciting. I'm telling you, man, I've never lived in a neighborhood that has a sports bar before. So I am so excited about on Saturdays coming down to Nine Toes. And, you know, they have a lot of TVs in here watching games with people who.
That's when you're not in Mobile.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, speaking of Mobile, you know, I saw where 6 of the guys from USA are were named to the Sun Belt Conference, you know, team, all Sun Belt Conference team, you know, second and third teams on that. I think hopefully, and we'll talk to Major Applewhite about this week, but, you know, they're going to put the expectations on Keenan Phillips are going to be through the roof this year. You know, you lost Kentrell Bullock, but Keenan Phillips played in every game last year behind Kentrell Bullock or beside Kentrell Bullock, ran for over 600 yards, caught something like 48 passes. So, you know, expectations are high.
But as you know, Jeff, you want to know, and I know you already know this will be the main number one question, which not only am I going to ask Major, but the fact is you're thinking it too. Who's QB1?
Who's QB1? What's the offense going to look like with Major taking it over? There's a lot of questions. On a local level, man, I can't wait to see Paris Trevelyan playing at Pass High. I look forward to seeing what Quincy does at West Harrison. Those are the teams that I cover. I cover Pass High football. Love doing that. I love covering West Harrison and just whatever else. So, looking forward to it. So let's see what our guests have to say about it, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 12th, and head to Nine Toes Brewing Company in Pass Christian for the Hook 'em for Heroes block party. It's a free event from 1 to 10 p.m. featuring live performances by J.J. Gray and Mofro, Mark Broussard, Cedric Burnside, Honey Island Swamp Band, and more. Best of all, the event supports local veterans and first responders, so come enjoy great music while giving back to those who have served our communities.
The Gazebo Gazette is Harrison County's only independent newspaper, publishing news from Gulfport to Bay St. Louis every Friday. Hi, this is Hunter Dawkins, owner of the Gazebo Gazette. If you're looking for local news without the hassle of sorting through story after digital story, log on to thegazebogazette.com.
Love to introduce my good friend, Long Beach School District, because I'm not saying Long Beach High School because you're more than high school. Long Beach School District Athletic Director, Bob Reeves. Before being an administrator, Coach Reeves was a coach for 14 years, I believe. At least that's what I read, not only for Long Beach, but for New Hope High School, his alumnus too, as well.
Yes, sir.
And how are you, Coach?
Doing well. It's that kind of that perfect little slice of the summer right here where we're in between wrapping up one school year, but right on the cusp of getting ready to start another one.
Coach, you mentioned to me a little bit earlier, after the MHSA coaching clinic this week in Jackson, which was available for all of the high school coaches, were there any changes in the MHSA rules for football for this upcoming season?
There's always tweaks to the rules that come down from the National Federation of High School Sports. But the biggest thing that came out of the sessions that I went to, the athletic director sessions, on some of the things that will be coming up with the reclassification that will be taken in October. The 5, 6, and 7A classifications all have 24 teams apiece. And since they made that decision, they said, hey, we're going to have 4 regions of 6 teams. Okay. Make it even. And they've come out and they have tweaked that. So going forward, they're saying, hey, if it geographically makes sense to have 5 in one and possibly 7 in another, we're going to give ourselves the flexibility to do that. And I don't know if it's going to be like a hard rule, but somebody threw the mileage out of like 150 miles.
Yeah.
And as a football coach, it never really was a huge deal because we played once a week and it was on Friday. But, when you get to some of those sports that are midweek games that you're traveling,
like a basketball
game, like a baseball, softball, that's taxing on the kids, on the coaches. It's tough on everybody all the way around. And then of course, this kind of came out, I guess, several weeks back. MHSA has come out with the private schools that are members of the MHSAA,
multiplier.
The multiplier. Yeah. And there really wasn't a whole lot of discussion about that, but that's one of the things that kind of got some buzz when it was put out. And then down here on the coast we have Stanislaus and OLA, and it's not going to affect them because they've been operating under a multiplier for a number of years.
Sure. Speaking of these changes, and you talked a little bit about this classification switches, of course, as you said, in a few months later on this year. Mm-hmm. Does Long Beach foresee any future classification changes?
It's a possibility. I think nationwide, a trend that we're seeing is decreases in enrollment. It's at Long Beach and it's across the state, and I really think across the country. Some of these states have a little more mobility for their students, whether you call it school choice or voucher program or whatever it may be. Some places have top-notch private schools that they can send their kids to. So it's possible. Now, that being said, I don't know what the multiplier will do for a school like
St. Patrick.
Like St. Patrick.
Yeah.
St. Patrick is a 3A school, I believe, and that 1.5 multiplier might push them up, and it might skew the classification.
Sure.
So I can't say for certain that there will be, but it's possible just based on our enrollment.
Based on that, before I get to the next question, really a scenario that I was wondering about, since you had spoken of the least amount of attendance, what do you think about the possibility now? Of course, it has to go through the legislature, which is above your and my pay grade. What do you think about a Tebow rule, like they did out in Jacksonville with Nice High School? I'm sure you've heard about that before.
I have, and honestly, that was one of the more frequent questions I got this year from community members or people outside of Long Beach that were looking to move in possibly was
homeschool.
That's right. How do I homeschool my student and allow them to participate, with the local school?
Exactly.
Personally, I'm not in favor of it.
Sure.
But of course, if the legislature comes down and says this is the rule, then we will adapt and we'll figure out how to implement that and how to manage that. I just think it has too many questions at this point, and maybe they've been answered, but I don't know enough about them to have a favorable opinion of it right now.
Do the Bearcats have anything different in the athletic department this year?
No new sports. We started wrestling last year, and had a successful season. I think qualified 24 of our 28 lifters for the individual state championship.
Nice.
It took off like gangbusters. And the coolest thing that I saw from it was it really, when you think about the quote unquote typical high school athlete, a lot of these kids that joined the wrestling teams weren't.
Really?
They were somebody looking for a place to plug in, looking for a positive group to belong to. And coaches Brierton and Dorner, they did a great job building a culture, trying to create a family. But that to me was one of the neatest things, because to me that's the best thing about high school athletics. I'm an Ole Miss fan, and I love it when we recruit great talent and we can be really good. But with high school, it's really that community. And the kids that are walking your halls are the kids that you get to put in competition. And so giving all those kids a place to plug in, a place to belong, to me is what's special.
You definitely need to come here a little more times too. They're a big Ole Miss crowd here too as well. So
good deal.
Absolutely. But anyway, getting on the next question, this will be the 9th consecutive Oyster Bowl between Pascagoula and Long Beach. And I know you were a part of it too for a little bit of time this year at Lumpkin McGee Stadium.
Yes, sir.
With an exception of 2 years, Pascagoula has dominated this series for the last decade. However, the Bearcats had the all-time record, 41-24-1, to believe what I've seen, over the Pirates. How important is this rivalry to the Long Beach Bearcats?
The coach speak is every game is another game, and it's just a faceless opponent. It's just the next person on the schedule. But in Mississippi, in small communities like the Pass, like Long Beach, games like this are important.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say doubly important, but it is as important because this is the opener for both teams.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get a good start. Both teams are working hard over the summer. Coach Stockstill does a great job over at the Pass, and they've got some really talented kids. I've seen some that are getting some kind of big time offers, which is great. That's great. That's what we want for our athletes in Mississippi. But we want to, we don't want to compete. We want to work hard, do things the right way, and we want to start to build a culture of winning. Coach Finley and his coaches, they've been getting after it this summer. had good attendance in their summer program, which is important. But you know what? Right now, everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that. That's the easy
this is
part.
when you win the state
That's right.
championship.
That's the easy part because everybody's doing it right now.
Yeah.
But, we feel like we've got some pieces in place that are going to help us be successful, and we really hope to put that on the field week 1 against the Pass.
Coach, final question. Let everyone, this isn't really a question, more of a statement. Let everyone know how they can reach out to your booster club, your Long Beach Booster Club, to support Long Beach football in general.
Sure. So Long Beach Booster Club is active on Facebook. Have an active Facebook page, putting out stuff on our behalf. And one thing that we have going on right now is this year, I was told back in the spring, this year is the 100th year of Long Beach high school football. And so this fall, we are going to have, I believe it's September 4th.
It's the second home game, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And we are going to host any former football player, cheerleader, band member. We've got a Google form out that we're pushing out kind of weekly. Nice. They can register, and we're going to recognize people by class. So from our kids that just graduated in May, I believe the I'm going to say oldest, but how about most seasoned alum right now, I believe is 1962.
That's before Mayor Bass. So I think he said to me that he was eventually one of them, but no, I agree with that. That's great.
Yeah. Great. So we're excited. We got a lot of good things going. Like you said at the beginning, I'm not a coast native. I'm a North Mississippi transplant down here, but I've been here for 12 years, and so this is home.
You've been here long enough, yeah.
I have, and so Long Beach has been good to me and my family. The administration is top notch. That's the #1 school district by all metrics that are used in the state of Mississippi to judge school districts. So we got a lot of positive things going. And this fall, really, a week from tomorrow, fall sports start outside of football. So we're hoping to have a springboard into a great school year starting July 20th with fall sports practice.
Coach, we appreciate having you on again. We look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Go Bearcats.
Looking for effortless style on the coast? Discover Coast Casual in the Pass, your locally owned men's and boys' boutique. Coast Casual offers a mix of coastal and southern-inspired clothing, accessories, and gifts.
Nine Toes Brewing Company is a Gulf Coast destination for craft beer, great food, and interactive entertainment. Enjoy a rotating selection of small batch brews, a menu of comfort food favorites, and state-of-the-art golf simulators featuring world-famous courses.
Introduced my good friend, Tony McGill. For over 3 decades, Tony has been here broadcasting play-by-play for high school, junior college, college, and professional sports. You can find him on the Long Beach Broadcast Network doing play-by-play for all of the Bearcats football, wrestling, include
wrestling this year, yes,
and baseball games. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Hunter Dawkins. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. With over 3 decades of experience, what has changed most about high school football during your time?
Well, starting off, you're in like a wing tee or something like that, and it wasn't, I formation, power football,
and all that. Yeah.
D'Angelo comes in mid '90s, early '90s, and spreads it out. Chris Ronica, who signed at Mississippi State to pitch, was a great quarterback, and just slung it all around, breaking records, and that's kind of what you saw. The big change was when they spread like a West Coast offense.
Okay. Well, since you were on broadcast for the Mississippi Fire Dogs, do you think the Mississippi Gulf Coast could benefit from having another arena football team around the Coliseum?
Absolutely. Some of the best times that I've had watching football was arena football with the Fire Dogs. John Fourcade, ex-New Orleans Saints. I think he was, when they went on strike that year, he was the quarterback then. He was a part owner. Brett Favre's dad, Irvin Favre, was the owner, and Jim English, who started Coast TV Cable, was one of the owners. So the three of them put that together, and it was just unbelievably run and packed that Coliseum.
Yeah, a lot of Hancock County residents too. Stu Rayburn and all those guys.
Well, Stu was quarterback there. Then he went on to Stanislaus, but Stu was quarterback. I interviewed him probably 5 or 6 times before he ever started coaching high school football.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. I was the color commentator for the guest team.
Sure.
And then after that, we of course we're employed by the Fire Dogs, so we would do our interviews. And I've told Bobby Abear at spring practice in the Saints one time that my funnest interview was John Forcade.
Yeah.
And it was just his antics and before and after the game stuff. He's just a blast.
And seeing that we're in an Ole Miss facility here, usually John Forcade name is definitely not mentioned as much as it probably could be.
No.
But that being said, okay. Well, covering 3 different sports, which sport has given you the most enjoyment for your last decade?
Oh, it would be football. I love football. And, we're not winning a whole bunch of games at Long Beach. And we're in the off season, and I'm sitting at the house even last night, and I'm thinking, I could name 10 kids. I could name 5 quarterbacks that started at Long Beach that moved to either Stanislaus or Gulfport.
Sure.
And so if you're not winning, you're going to lose some of those better kids. Same thing with baseball.
Kids that are from Long Beach or past Michigan that ended up moving to Stanislaus too as well. So.
Yeah, that happened quite a bit. I mean, one of the best quarterbacks went on to LSU. Miles Brennan is a Long Beach kid. So that's always been a problem. And until you can turn it around and keep our kids at home, it's going to be tough to be successful. I think we have a successful program. Cody Finley, our head coach, this will be his second round, will do a phenomenal job. I remember I was on the search committee for the last couple of coaches, and talking to Cody about, this guy could be down at the field house all day. Kids coming in, weight room and all that, but he wanted at least 2 of his blocks, 2 out of 4 periods, to stay at the high school, so he's interacting with the kids.
Sure.
There's not a big kid walking the hallway that's not playing football. He's been recruited by Finley, and he surrounded himself with good coaches, and I think he'll be successful. I really do. I don't know if we're going to win 5 games this year, 6 games, or whatever. But I really am looking forward to the season. I think we'll have a good season.
Well, I asked Coach Reeves this question too as well, and this is another one I'm going to ask you. What do you think, if there is after the coaching clinic last week where they discussed classification, do you think there's any possible change for Long Beach for classification?
I don't know.
If you do, is it good or bad?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it can be up. So you and I both.
No, I don't think it'll be up either. We're not going to be in a West Harrison situation. That's going to be tough for them. I was just reading yesterday also that they're going to have they probably have the hardest schedule that you'll see all year. And but we're 8th or 9th in the South that have a tough schedule. When you play Picayune and Pearl River, the Feaster, we have 3 quarterbacks in our division that are in the top 10 in the state.
Sure.
So you're going to see some good play in court. And then we open up the Oyster Bowl, sponsored by the Gazebo Gazette, but we open up with them against Treon from Pass Christian.
Paris is good.
He's in the top 10. So you get to see a lot of good football at Long Beach. We'll also see one of the 5th ranked running back out of Picayune, 5th ranked running back in the nation. So we'll see that. And his name escapes me, right? Xavier Dennis.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Amazing. Number 5 in the state. So he's fun to watch. You just don't like those broadcast guys over there give me fits. So
what does Long Beach football need to do to win more than 2 games this year?
Like I said, you don't have anybody that I think could walk in the halls that hadn't been recruited. On the coaches' end, they work hard. The booster club is good. Everything's there for them. We just have to keep kids at home.
Is it a scheduling format? Is it I know that's a lot of complaints.
You mentioned divisions and this and that. If we drop the division maybe from 6A to 5A, you'd have a shot at winning some more football games. But we have to win non-district games before we get into the district to have a chance to have a good season.
Who looks to be in playoff contention in your region, the top 4 in your region that you know of?
Well,
Picayune's
going to be there. Pearl River Central will be there because their quarterback's coming back, and his dad is the Feaster is the head coach. I think Hancock brings back a good football team, and then again another top 10 quarterback out of Gaucher.
Wow!
So you'll see some good football there.
Well, Coach,
and I'm probably
no, you're absolutely right about that.
Thinking about some of the teams, but there's some good football teams in our division.
Well, Coach, we also tell all the fans and all to check out the Long Beach High School Broadcast Network on YouTube and on NFHS Friday night, their football games, and you'll hear and see Coach McGill and Coach Tim Delaney, who they does your color. Am I correct on that?
So, he is an ex-Nicholls State and Tulane University football coach, and he brings. And if you want to hear two voices clash, we go at it pretty good. But we've coached both of his sets of twins in football and baseball, basketball. So we've coached together.
Not in tennis, though, right?
No, they win at tennis.
They win at tennis. So.
All kind of awards. And just to say one thing too, special season this year. This is our 100th year of Bearcat football, and we're in the process of putting some stuff in the can. We're interviewing. I have like William Skelly, former mayor of Long Beach. I have him scheduled for Wednesday. Coach Fortenberry. His dad was a coach, and he coached me when I was in the 7th grade. Wow. So the Fortenberrys has been there for years, and really want to concentrate on, like I said, Billy Skelly, former mayor, his dad announced for 42 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So he's got a big plaque on the press box, and we really want to bring some of that. And the 1963 team was undefeated, and the 1973 team was undefeated. So we want to really focus in on that. And people like Red Daniels, who went on to play, and Jerry Daniels with the Giants, and some ex-pros. Robert Taylor with the Bears.
Well, we look forward to hearing more from you, Coach. Take care of yourself.
Looking forward to it, Hunter. Always a pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you, my friend.
Looking for trusted legal guidance on the Mississippi Gulf Coast? Joseph Kelly, attorney at law, has been serving the coast since 1993, helping families protect what matters most. From estate planning to securing your legacy, Joseph Kelly provides experienced, personalized legal services designed around your unique needs.
If you are thinking about selling on your own, maybe ask Steph. If you would like to talk to Stephanie to help determine your next steps, call today at 228-563-0471 or call her at the office and ask for Steph at 228-452-4242. I would like to introduce one of my good friends and former teacher. I know that's that long ago, right? Joe Jex, the head track and field coach at St. Stanislaus. Additionally, Coach Jex is a sports reporter for the Gazebo Gazette and the Seacoast Echo. And finally, above all, I know his favorite thing to do. He's the Ole Miss beat writer. Coach, talk to me about the West Coast football teams, the West Mississippi Gulf Coast high school football teams. Who appears to be strong in this region, 49 and West, all the way to the state line, and who could cause more damage in the playoffs?
Well, Hunter, it's great to be on here again. Thank you for having me. And for the West Coast football, for the Mississippi Gulf Coast, there are several teams that I think can complement what they did last year. Hancock was a second-round football team last year. They do have to replace their all-everything quarterback in Kyson Canan, who will be at Southwest. But
who turned down a bunch of bigger offers.
Yes, he did. He turned down an opportunity to go to West Point, to go to Southwest. I think Kyson will do a fantastic job out there. But his replacement is going to be Justin Wedgeworth. He's very much cut out of the same mold as Kyson Canan. He's a dual threat quarterback, stands about as tall as Kyson did. He's an unproven quarterback as far as what Kyson has done the last 2 years, but he's cut out of the same mold. So I think they won't skip a beat with Coach King and Wedgeworth back there throwing the football. They got some other players coming up as well. Colton Hopgood, that's former Bay High head coach Jeff Hopgood's son, his youngest son. So he's a linebacker, foreman, a running back, and also a backup quarterback. So Wedgeworth will have Hopgood back there with him. They have some talent out at wide receiver in Magia Talley and Aspen Favre. I think West Harrison could do some stuff. Quincy over there is doing a great job, and they're taking it step by step. The biggest step they have to take is making the playoffs for the first time in school history.
That's right.
This year could be that year. They started off with a great opportunity last year, and I think it got away from them talent wise, and just having to continue to play the teams that they had to play in that division. Pass Christian again, another team that was that had advanced to the third round and lost to Columbia 41-6, but they return their all-everything quarterback, Paris Trevelyan. And anytime you have that young man lining up behind center, anything can happen for Pass Christian. They always have the skill athletes. So the real question is, how does their line produce? How does their defense produce? Sammy King coming up to the varsity on the line. He is an outstanding track and field athlete and just a mountain of muscle. So it'll be interesting to see how Sammy King and Kenneth Dalcor and others contribute on that line. On the rest of the west end of the coast, Bay High was 0-9 last year. They have this is the second year under Catlin French, and they have their quarterback, or part-time quarterback, coming back this year, Cam Garsha. They have a transfer from Stanislaus, Javian Thompson, who was the starting quarterback at Stanislaus last year. He transferred over to Bay High, and Javian is an athletic talent. I'm not sure where they have him playing right now, but I think his natural position is running back. I think he could churn up some yards for them. But they got Q Victor as well back at Bay High this year. Let's see, St. Stanislaus. St. Stanislaus was 1-9 last year, and a lot of people may not like what I have to say about it, but last year's football team may very well have been one of the worst in the 112-year history of St. Stanislaus.
So 0-10 ones under.
Oh, yes.
And
yes. I mean, this last year's team struggled mightily to have 1,000 yards of total offense. That means over a 10-game season, because they were 1-9 last year, they're averaging 100 yards of offense a game.
Wow.
Compared to the high-octane offenses that Stanislaus has exhibited in previous years. So they have a new head coach, Evan Gay. He has come in and he has straightened some things out, has implored a military-style background to everything, because he is a former United States Army infantry officer deployed to Iraq. And so he has seen some stuff in his short life. And the kids have responded to what he has done. Nice. They have a few new coaches on staff. Mark Logan will return to being defensive coordinator. He was the defense coordinator in 2009 when we won the state championship, and he is going to be employing a new defense, a defense that's familiar to him, but a new defense to these kids. So they have some pieces in place. Sal Riccardi is, in my opinion, our best football player at this moment. But we have a new wide receiver, Liam Haynes, who really showed out during the spring game and had roughly close to about 190 yards receiving in the spring game. So things are looking up over at St. Stanislaus. Will they win more than one game? I certainly hope so. Will they win 10? I'm not holding out any hope for 10, but if they get to 4 wins, that is an incredible improvement. And hats off to these coaches, and hats off to those young kids playing.
All right, so now let's get to what is really of your and my discussion and interest, not only on the network, but also personally, we talk about quite a bunch. Does Ole Miss want to play within the box and try to lessen the effect the playmakers are on the perimeter? And what I guess I mean by that is Trinidad and Kiwan, are they going to try to to play within that box of those players and focus on the playmakers, outside of that? Or are they going to try to minimize everything else from everybody? Or are they going to try to expand it and, give it across the board, I guess you could say?
Well, the new OC at Ole Miss, John David Baker.
Yes.
He was co-offensive coordinator with Charlie Weiss for about 2 seasons, maybe 3. He was the tight ends coach, but also a co-offensive coordinator when he was at Ole Miss previously.
And he then went to UCF, correct? On that?
No, it was East Carolina.
East Carolina,
East Carolina, and had I think last year they were the number 3 offense in all of in all of the NCAA. I think last year.
Okay.
So the new OC, John David Baker, has proven that he can call plays.
Yeah.
Now, can he call plays in the SEC? We're going to find out.
That's true.
But you have a video game backfield. It is arguably the best backfield in America.
Lacey is on the main video game picture.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't mean to do it that way.
I know what you're saying.
But Kawan Lacey is the number 1 running back in college football, and Trinidad is the number 1 returning quarterback in college football.
Well, with that question, that leads to my next question. What is the greatest strength this Ole Miss football team has this season?
Running the football. They return their 3 starting interior linemen, their center and their 2 guards.
Did they get a transfer portal?
They got 2 tackles out of the transfer portal because they lost both of their tackles. Okay. 1 tackle, Terrence Davis, I believe is his name, was already on the team. He is a projected starter. They signed another offensive tackle for depth.
Yeah.
Then the Carius Kern tackle from LSU, who has some SEC starts.
Yeah.
He'll be a sophomore at Ole Miss this year. But that's where they really have to find some security, is on the outside to protect the outside. And then Luke Haas is one of the tight ends, and Caleb Odom is returning. Both of them saw snaps last year at tight end.
Okay.
So, and both of them can block decently. So first and foremost, this football team is going to run the football. You have the best running back in America. Why do you not give him the football?
Right there.
And then the Michigan State transfer, I forget his name, but the Michigan State transfer at running back provides excellent depth behind Lacey. So they're going to run the football. Defensively, and I'm sure that's maybe where you want to go next.
Well, not necessarily, but you can go ahead if you're ready.
Okay. All right. Defensively, they have some playmakers returning, especially on the defensive front.
Suntarine is what I'm getting.
Well, Suntarine Perkins, he'll line up anywhere they want to put Suntarine Perkins, he will excel. He's an edge rusher by nature.
Okay.
But he can drop off in coverage and challenge for an interception.
They're not going
pace a quarterback.
They're not going to pull a Harold Perkins like LSU did a few years ago, moving him to inside linebacker.
No.
Okay.
No. He's on the edge. His speed and football IQ requires him to be there, because he can. And we saw that in the Georgia game and in the Miami game last year. The advantage he has with closing speed and to shut a play down. So they'll use him. But then on the defensive front, you've got Jamarius Brown from Moss Point. You've got Will Eccles, who is by some experts a first-team All-American, preseason All-American.
Best interior lineman in the nation.
And then your opposite edge rusher in Cam Franklin. All of these guys return. And then you have Keaton Thomas coming in from Baylor, who Pete Golding has said may very well be the best linebacker he has ever coached, and that includes at Alabama. And then you have some seasoned starters returning in the defensive backfield, and you have some transfers coming in. But that front 7 for Ole Miss on defense, if they're able to continue where they left off last year, it could provide some real fits for opposing offenses in the SEC.
How does Ole Miss prove that last year was a success and not a fluke?
Well, first of all, they can't listen to these so-called experts out there who say that they are a mid-tier SEC team. They have to go out and they have to play football how they are expected to play football within their own expectation, not the experts' expectation, their own.
But let me ask you this: would that be a playoff berth? Is that what that takes? I'm just wondering.
I think anything over
10 games or 9 games?
I think anything that exceeds 8 wins will disprove any of these experts out there that say they're a mid-tier team.
Okay.
Because you're going to have an opportunity to be in the playoff with 9 wins.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So Ole Miss could lose 3 ball games and still be in the playoff.
Well,
just depends on who they lose to, because they've got some key SEC matchups this year.
That's the segue to my final question. If the SEC has 5 teams make it to the playoffs, who will they be?
Georgia, definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
Texas.
If Texas plays the way Texas is expected to play, then yes, Georgia, Texas are your top 2, and they should meet in the SEC championship. Okay. Outside of that, I think it could be a combination of 4 other teams.
Okay.
All right. LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Florida.
Really? No
Yeah.
Texas A&M?
No, I don't think Texas A&M will. I don't think Texas A&M is going to make the cut. I think the other teams' opportunities at their schedules will give them a better shot.
You see the light in Summerall already. I mean, I know John Summerall the last 2 years covering the Sun Belt. Well, 2 years before that, he's a great football coach. But jumping into that mess at Florida, you think he's ready?
Well, is anybody really ready for a mess in Division One?
That's right.
Okay, you have to answer that question. Is anybody, and that includes any coach out there.
That includes Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, absolutely, because he has been given tremendous expectation, which I have stated numerous times previously. What LSU expects him to do in the next 2 years, or he will be unemployed. So, is John Summerall ready? We're going to find out.
That's right.
But I think the talent has followed him there to have an opportunity. One team that could also be thrown into that mix would be Oklahoma, with Brett Venables and what they have coming in, John Mateer at QB. So there's a combination for those 3 other spots out of those 5 teams. But I think those other 5 teams outside of Texas and Georgia, and some of those 5 teams will play each other this year. So those games automatically become that much more important, especially down the road in November. Nobody remembers what you did in September. They remember what you do in November.
That's right. Coach, it's always a pleasure.
Hunter, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
United States Marine Inc. knows what it means to show up strong. Your grit and teamwork inspire us every day. At USMI, we cherish our family, and our family includes community and you. USMI builds the baddest boats with pride and coastal toughness.
My next guest is someone that I talk to virtually every week. WGSO 990 AM radio host for In the Red Zone and Breakfast with the Bayou Bengals, Mitch Gibbs. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. Thanks for inviting me again.
Absolutely. Mitch, as reported by Yahoo Sports yesterday, an email to the top 40 donors of the LSU Athletics of an invitation to the governor's mansion for a potential alternative to the NIL for discussion. Can you explain this? And is this even worth anything since it's politics getting involved in sports?
I mean, I just think it's kind of interesting that LSU's invested a lot of money in trying to win a national championship. They spent a lot of money getting rid of Brian Kelly. They spent a lot of money bringing in a new coach in Lane Kiffin. So I think the NIL, they've done very well too in terms of the money spent. And there's a lot of new players and not a lot of moving parts there. So I don't know what the necessity for this is, but to me, the overall thing is they want to win a national championship. There's a lot of pressure from the boosters, from the alums, from the fans, and it's all costs at this point with trying to win a national championship.
According to Athlon Sports, the LSU defense, the defensive line and the secondary are going through a major restructure. How will the Tigers be able to handle dominant ground attacks like Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, etc.?
I mean, they brought in a lot of new players on both sides of the ball, and I just think that LSU's defense was not very good last year. I don't know if you call it coaching or there was some other issues. Maybe the players weren't playing. They weren't motivated. They weren't very thrilled with Brian Kelly being the coach. But Lane Kiffin is not he's not a defensive guy. So they kept their guy in place. The defensive coordinator was, potentially going to be the Tulane football coach. But there's a lot of new players, and it's hard to predict how LSU is going to do this year. I know I'm going to have to talk about a lot on my show coming up next month, but there's just a lot of moving parts there. And so I think LSU will be better later in the season when these guys kind of learn to play together.
If the SEC has 5 teams in the playoffs, who will those 5 be?
I kind of think Ole Miss is going to be the best team in the conference. I know we have to be sure about their defense, but I think they've addressed that in the portal.
They'll like you at 9 toes here, Ole Miss fans. But anyway,
it's given my objective opinion. I told you a few years ago my thoughts about Lane Kiffin. So, but I just think they have the best quarterback. I think Trinidad Chambliss is just the guy. I mean, I think he's just really good, maybe the best quarterback in the country. And then with Kawan Lacey, they may have the best running back in the country. They've got other good running backs. I know they have some new wide receivers, but everybody is. LSU's got a bunch of new wide receivers as well. So I put Ole Miss there. Again, Arch Manning has kind of been up and down, but I think Texas got the talent around him to get in. I think Georgia, with Kirby Smart, they're always there. Another new quarterback. They actually, I believe, are going to have the same quarterback. So Georgia would be there. So I'd have Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia. Alabama always gets a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because they're Alabama. I'll put that at 4. And then 5, I think, is a wild card. I don't know who the 5th team is. I think LSU could be. I think LSU's just like kind of one of those teams that's going to be right on the fence at getting in. So I think there's like teams like LSU. I think there's a team like Florida. We'll see how Summerall does, the ex-Tulane coach there. I think there's a bunch of teams for that 5th spot, whether you want to talk about Florida, LSU, maybe you throw in Tennessee as well.
Tulane is projected to finish with 6.5 wins by ESPN's SP bet. Is this justified, or, I mean, is this where they're at with the coaching staff, with the players? Talk to me about your thoughts about that.
I think Tulane's going to be sort of back to where they were before, they had
Willie Fritz.
With a Fritz and Summerall. There was 2 outstanding coaches they got, and I know they had good quarterback play, but again, they have to replace a quarterback, new head coach. But they're sort of in the same situation as the Saints, in the sense that they're just like the Saints division-wise. The Tulane's conference is not that good, so I think Tulane's going to be a bowl team. I think I think you have to win 6 games. I think Tulane can win 7 or 8 games because of the conference, and I think it's going to be a couple of lean years, and we're going to see how they do, because they could make a change down the road. But I would say I would go over on 6.5, just because I think they're going to probably be able to win most of their conference games.
Final question, Mitch. Do you believe the outcome, the 2026-27 season for the New Orleans Saints, depends on the development of Tyler Shuck, or is it something else on the team?
Well, I think it's going to be more than just Tyler Shuck. I think it's that's one of the most important things is how he progresses, because again, we're going back to the question of, was it the competition at the end of last year, or was it the guy had really no running game and threw some great passes? So we're going to find that out this year. But I think that they're going to have to be able to run the ball. And they brought in Travis Etienne. I don't know what they're going to do with Kamara. I don't know if Kamara's going to be in the team, but the health of Travis Etienne, having established running game, is important. And I'll throw in 2 more things. The offensive line has to be better. And I still think they really didn't address the issue of edge rusher in the offseason, and that's a concern. I know they're bringing Cameron Jordan back. It's a good PR move, Hall of Fame guy. He had a lot of success last year, but they've got to have a better pass rush to be competitive. And then again, you throw in, just like I said with Tulane, NFC South. I don't think anybody's really necessarily any better. It gives them a chance. I still favor probably Tampa to win the division. But I would just say, to answer your question, the development of Tyler Shuck, his progression, being able to run the ball, the offensive line, and of course the pass rush.
All right, Mitch, tell everybody where they can reach you and contact you, at least in listening to the show. You said the show's coming out in August, correct?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook a lot in terms of posting different things about what's going on in the world of sports. But yeah, beyond that, we're only a few weeks out from the Saints show in the Red Zone, our 17th year. It's amazing, doing 17th year. And that's going to be at Premier Nissan, which is on Veterans, right off the interstate between David Drive, and I say where Metairie meets Kenner. And then the LSU show, I'm looking forward to being on the North Shore for the first time at an Irish pub, which should be really cool. So I know a lot of people want to come out there and try some good.
Might even have a drink with you.
Yeah, I just talked to the owner. We're ready to roll on August 1st. I think we're going to actually do a show August 1st. The Saints show, we're not going to start till that Friday into next week. And that's going to be right off I-12 in Covington. On your way to the LSU football game, you can just take I-12 into Baton Rouge and stop by at 9 to 11. They're going to have breakfast, brunch, whatever you want, some really good beer. So I'm looking forward to it. So I think it's going to be interesting. LSU and the Saints will be interesting. I don't know if either one of them is going to be in postseason, but they'll be fun to watch.
Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Take care. If you are thinking about selling on your own, maybe ask Steph. If you would like to talk to Stephanie to help determine your next steps, call today at 228-563-0471 or call her at the office and ask for Steph at 228-452-4242. Would love to introduce my friend and one of the experts of high school football across the Mississippi Gulf Coast, who fans, students, coaches, and scouts follow through Twitter and Facebook. Mad Stats, how are you, my friend?
Hunter, HD experience, no other place like it. Glad to be the dessert on this this appetizer, the meal that you've just served up. Glad to be part of it. And again, the sports fans, you have a plethora of sports that you cover, and all the sports fans get their fill. I'm glad to be part of it.
Appreciate you, Matt. Since we don't want to leave high school football fans waiting, and technically you promised on last week's podcast what teams have the toughest schedules and who has the easiest schedules for the upcoming Mississippi Gulf Coast high school football season.
Yes, the numbers have been run, and they will be officially put out on Facebook, Gulf Coast High School Football, on Monday at 7 p.m. Fans, when this comes out on Monday or Tuesday, but you'll be able to hear it first on the HD podcast. And we do a rating as far as the last 2-3 years of the opponents. This is the full schedule, just not non-region and region. It's the full 10 games. Most of them are going to play 10 games on the coast. And last year, it was West Harrison had the toughest schedule. The year before that, Ocean Springs had the toughest schedule. And, of course, fans are going to argue, which that's what I want, is to talk about it because everybody has their opinion on it. So just quickly, I can give you the top 10 all the way to number one in the point system, which will be posted on Facebook page. And at number 10, Hancock has the 10th toughest schedule. You have Pearl River Central at number 9, St. Martin at number 8. You have Biloxi at number 7, Ocean Springs at number 6, West Harrison, who was last year, at number 5, D'Iberville at number 4, Picayune at number 3, and number 2, you're familiar with it, and that is Gulfport.
Wow.
The number one team with the toughest schedule.
Wow.
Now, if I tell you the schedule that they're going to host Biloxi, they're going to play at Ocean Springs, they're going to host D'Iberville, they're going to play at Gulfport, they're going to play at Picayune, they're going to host Long Beach, they're going to play at Pearl River Central, they're going to host Hancock, and they're going to be at Gaucher. All those teams there, and I say all those teams, Moss Point, they'll play Moss Point, they'll host Moss Point in game 1. That was a playoff team last year. Biloxi was a playoff team. Gulfport, D'Iberville, was a playoff team. Picayune, Pearl River Central, Hancock, all playoff teams, and that team is the Pascagoula Panthers.
Wow.
Will have the coast toughest schedule, and again, I have point systems, and they're at 9.62. Gulfport, just to put it in perspective, is 9.51, and Hancock at 10th is 8.86.
Wow. Coming out early, can you state any early playoff predictions for the Mississippi Gulf Coast football teams?
Well, as far as I believe, even I go as far as region wins, Gulfport will win the 7A Region 4 again this year. They won last year. They stopped Ocean Springs' streak 5 in a row. Pass Christian will win again. They're 4A. At least those two is what I have. And now Picayune, Pascagoula, I believe Picayune should win their 6A, but they will have, with Pascagoula coming in there, we'll have a tough competition there with Pascagoula. There's plenty of streaks also that we'll get to before the season starts, which is at about 45 days away from kickoff. We're coming up on 6 weeks till kickoff. And again, we'll have a lot of streaks that are heading into the season. And we can go over anything that you want to go over as far as streak wise there. But those are some of the predicted. Gulfport will win. Picayune will win the region. And Pass Christian will win their region there. Poplarville, real good chance. I believe they will win their region over Columbia, who won last year.
Of these teams that you mentioned, Matt, who amongst in these regions are the shockers, both positively and negatively?
As far as I believe, Biloxi, I believe they did, I say sneak in there. They did. West Harrison had their shot at making the first playoffs. Biloxi was in the playoffs last year, and I believe Biloxi will, I say, shock a lot of people. I mean, Biloxi and D'Iberville, I think, will be more legit this year. D'Iberville is always there, being legit. But I believe Biloxi will be one of the teams that not a lot of people, I guess, are given credit to per se. So that's one of the teams there. As far as Moss Point, I don't think they made the playoffs last year. They just won the one game in the region against Bay. Is Bay ready to make that next turn, to get into the playoffs? We shall see there. But I believe Moss Point may take a down step this year as far as going into the playoffs. Can they beat Bay? You just got to win one game. There's 5 teams in that region in that 4A.
What about Coach Patrick and West Harrison?
Coach Patrick, they do have, last year was their year to make the playoffs. So they'll probably make the playoffs this year. First time ever. We shall see. I'm not sure if they'll make it in this year or not. But, all the expectations last year with Stapleton and the defensive end. And Coach Patrick, he's a great coach, and he'll have them there ready to go. Again, I have them as the 5th rated toughest schedule. So we shall see, how last year they played their games at home, where they hosted Gulfport, they hosted Ocean Springs, and they went on to lose at Biloxi. If they would have won that game, they would have been in the playoffs. But this year, now they'll they'll go play Gulfport, they'll go play at Ocean Springs, and they'll go play at D'Iberville. Those are obviously 3 teams in that 7A class there. Can West Harrison make it? Most definitely they can make it for the first time ever in the playoffs. Will they make it? Right now, I would say no, but it'll be fun to watch. They have Stapleton's not there. They have a new running back, quarterback. I mean, Coach Quincy will have them ready to go.
Final question for you, Matt. Of all these teams, who has the best opportunity, not necessarily to win, but just to be in Starkville?
I mean, right off Gulfport is one of them. Picayune and Poplarville. There's no hesitation there. Can Pass Christian, because they're in the same 4A class. So Pass Christian and Poplarville, that would be nice to meet in the South State Championship game. I believe Poplarville has the edge there, even though firsthand with Paris and their wide receiver there, Burke. I mean, they, are great. So I would say those 3 teams off the top of, looking at it now here in July, the last month without football, really looking forward to kickoff. But I would say at least those teams. And Ocean Springs still there. They have their quarterback coming up. He's a young quarterback, and they lost, several running backs there. But they'll be ready to go as far as the Greyhounds. Never count them out. But I would say Gulfport, Picayune, and Poplarville have a real good chance at making it to state championships.
Matt, tell everybody how they can reach you and how they can contact you and follow you and do anything to be able to get as close to you as possible.
Yeah, and first off, before I get into it, I just want to, like I say, send the family and friends of Nolan Wells. Played at Ocean Springs. We covered them a couple years ago, and certainly prayers go out to the family and friends. Across all media at Coast Football, just type it in. Again, Monday night, what you guys are listening to just now, you just heard what the toughest schedule is, as Pascagoula has it. But we still have the top 25 rankings, the hot or not, the streaks going into this 2025 sixth season, players to watch, the new stadiums coming out. So just type in at Coast Football, and you'll be able to find us everywhere. So I certainly appreciate you having me on the HD Experience. Again, the award-winning with you and Jeff do an amazing job, and look forward to the next time.
We thank you much, sir. You take care of yourself.
All right. Stats is out.
We gratefully appreciate you listening to this podcast. And Jeff, we thank you again. We want to thank all of our sponsors, the Beau Rivage Resort and Casino in Biloxi, Nine Toes Brewery in Pass Christian for hosting us again, O'Dwyer Realty agent Stephanie Mankiewicz, Joseph Kelly, attorney at law, Coast Casual in Pass Christian, the Insurance Barn in Gulfport, Hook 'em for Heroes Block Party, and the U.S. Marine Inc. Make sure you follow us on and subscribe, Jeff, to us on YouTube under Gazebo Gazette Productions. Am I correct?
That's it. If you'll subscribe, you can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple or any of the stuff. It'll go automatically to your feed every time we drop a new episode. And subscribe us on YouTube, and you'll get an alert when we get those up as well.
And as well, you can follow us on the award-winning website, thegazebogazette.com, where the podcast will be posted next week. Also on Facebook, /The Real Gazebo Gazette, or on X at the Gazebo Gazette as the handle. The HD Experience, as Jeff mentioned, is on all podcasts, everywhere you get podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and Amazon Music under HD Experience tag. Signing out, this is Hunter Dawkins on the HD Experience. We'll catch you on the flip side.